Part 7. The aftermath. It's been days since the kiss, but the tension between you and him is almost suffocating. Neither of you knows what comes next, but one thing is for sure: nothing will ever be the same again. If you've ever found yourself in the aftermath of a moment that changes everything, you know how hard it can be to just move on. That kiss, whatever it meant, lingers in the air, but you're stuck wondering if it was a mistake or if it could lead to something even deeper. Sarah's in this exact situation right now, and let me tell you, the aftermath of that kiss is a lot more complicated than she could have imagined. It's been days, and nothing feels normal anymore. The silence between them, the space that's grown, the distance, it's all a lot to handle. But is it really a mistake? Or is there something more going on that neither of them is ready to face? So let's dive into the tension, the confusion, and the silent game that's unfolding between Sarah and Jason. Will they ever talk about it, or is this something they'll let simmer and destroy everything? The first few days after the kiss are always the hardest. You're trying to get back to normal, trying to pretend like nothing happened, but everything feels different. For Sarah, the confusion is growing. Jason has started avoiding her at the gym, and it's making her wonder if she misread the situation. Maybe he regrets it. Maybe he never meant for it to happen. Or maybe he's just too proud to admit that he wants more. But Sarah can't stop thinking about it. She can't shake the feeling of how right it felt in that moment, the electricity, the pull between them. And it's making it impossible to just walk away and pretend like everything's fine. And the worst part? Maya, Sarah's best friend, is noticing everything. She can tell something's off. But Maya's not the type to keep quiet about things like this. She can't resist teasing Sarah about it, poking fun at the awkwardness, but it's only making Sarah feel more uncertain. Should she confront Jason about what happened, or should she just let it go and let things play out? Meanwhile, Jason is throwing himself into his workouts more than ever. The gym was their usual meeting spot, their place of connection. But now, Sarah feels like a stranger there. His avoidance is like a slap in the face. He won't even make eye contact. The whole situation is a mess. Sarah's left wondering if she's made a huge mistake or if Jason is just too messed up to know what he wants. Every time Sarah sees Jason, it's like a weight pressing on her chest. There's no clear path forward, and she's terrified of confronting him. What if he laughs it off? What if he's secretly been avoiding her because he's embarrassed or doesn't want anything serious? But at the same time, Sarah can't help but feel like there's more to the story. She's not one to just sit back and let things happen, and yet right now that's exactly what she's doing, waiting, hoping, but not daring to make the first move. And Maya, oh Maya, she can't seem to leave Sarah alone about it. She's constantly asking about Jason, making jokes, pushing Sarah to talk to him. But Maya doesn't know the real struggle, the emotional roller coaster Sarah's going through. She can't explain to her that it's not just about the kiss. It's about everything that came after it, the silence, the avoidance, the uncertainty. The question that keeps echoing in Sarah's mind is, what does this mean? Jason's behavior is the real mystery. He's normally not one to hide his feelings. If he's upset or angry, you can tell right away. But right now, he's shutting down completely. Sarah can't help but wonder, is he distancing himself because of the kiss? Or is there something else going on in his life that she doesn't know about? The more she thinks about it, the more confused she becomes. She never expected it to be like this. She thought that maybe the kiss would break the ice, bring them closer, but instead it's driven them farther apart. But maybe that's just the thing. Maybe that kiss meant more to Jason than he's willing to admit. And if it did, maybe he's scared of it. Meanwhile, Jason is still out there, lifting weights, working hard, and yet he looks like he's running away from something, just like Sarah. He's locked in a battle with himself, and neither of them seems to know how to win. They're both stuck in this strange limbo, unsure of what's next but knowing they can't stay where they are. tipping point finally comes when Sarah and Jason find themselves face to face in the gym one late afternoon. It's a typical day. Sarah is on the treadmill trying to ignore the space between them. But then Jason walks in, heading straight for the weights. His eyes meet hers for just a second before he looks away, as if he's trying to avoid her gaze. But Sarah isn't having it anymore. She's done pretending. Her heart is pounding in her chest, and the silence between them is deafening. She walks over to him, her voice shaky but determined. "Jason, can we talk?" He stops mid-set, looking at her with an unreadable expression. "About what?" "About everything," she says, her breath catching in her throat. "About the kiss. About why you're acting like you don't know me anymore." For a moment, there's nothing but the sound of weights clanging in the background. Jason doesn't say anything. He just stares at her as if he's weighing his options. But Sarah can feel it. The tension is finally about to break. "I'm not avoiding you," he says, his voice quieter than usual, but there's a weight behind it. "I'm just not sure where we go from here." That kiss. It wasn't just a kiss for me. Confession hangs in the air. Sarah's heart skips a beat. It's everything she's been wanting to hear, but now that it's out there, she's not sure what to do with it. "What do you mean?" she whispers, her voice trembling slightly. "What are you trying to say?" Jason looks at her, his face softening for the first time in days. "I mean, I'm scared. I don't know how to deal with this. Us. It's complicated, Sarah." And just like that, everything makes sense. Confusion, the distance, the silence, it's all been about fear. Fear of what happens if they really let themselves go there. Fear of what a relationship between them could mean. That moment when the truth finally comes out changes everything. The distance between them isn't about avoiding each other. It's about the fear of what they could be together. It's a fear that both Sarah and Jason have been carrying around, not knowing how to move past it. But now that they've both said it out loud, things can never go back to the way they were before. They're in uncharted territory now. The kiss wasn't a mistake, it was a step forward, even if neither of them was ready for it. Now it's up to both of them to figure out if they're willing to take the next step, or if they'll let their fears control them and walk away from something that could be real. If you want to see what happens next, make sure to subscribe and watch the next video.